Welcome. This is episode one of. We don't have a name for it yet. Legacy
To be
podcast.
decided.
Yeah, to be decided. It's me and Donny. Don B. We will be chatting. I don't know, all the things that interest us to do with esports. We spent a lot of time talking about like the psychology of playing from a layman's perspective. Neither of us are psych majors or anything like that. We've just both played a lot of
Yeah.
games. It's fun to talk about. So I think that's what mostly we'll be talking about, but could be anything. For those who don't know me, I mean, if you're watching this, you almost certainly do, but I'm the head of esports at Legacy, a former professional League of Legends player. Been around esports in Australia now for almost 7 years. So pretty long history as far as esports goes. With me is Don B, long time Melee player. He joined Legacy, I think, probably like 5 years ago now. It's been a while.
I think actually, I was thinking this morning or yesterday, other than you, might have the most legacy jerseys. I was looking in my parents' cupboard where I keep all of them. Because
Yeah.
I had like all of the backdated ones, and I have like six
Yeah.
or seven now. That white
Yeah.
one, which was around for a while. Yeah, and I was like, I think other than you, I might be the person with the most of different ones of these.
You'd be up there. I reckon Probe. Probe's been with us for a long time, and
Right.
he's gone through a
Yeah,
lot
he'd
of
be
iteration of
close.
jerseys, and especially because you two are both LAN players.
Solo.
So, yeah, and Probe goes to like a lot of LAN, so he constantly needs the up to date jersey for like whatever
Right.
media day shoot he's doing for like IEM Katowice or wherever he's playing.
Yeah. Living with that guy was
But
crazy.
you,
He was never in the house. He was just always in Russia or something, or like China. Like he
yeah,
was just
yeah.
always flying somewhere.
Yeah. He's and I've said this for a long time actually. And for those who are watching, Probe is our StarCraft player, StarCraft 2 player for Legacy, best in Australia and has been for a long time. He's kind of, I don't think gets talked about much in like the greater esports, Australian esports kind of culture, Australian, New Zealand, because he's like a super high performer. This is a guy who's like
He's
world
like one of the
ranked.
most successful.
So
Yeah.
yeah, was like ranked number 12 in the world at one point in his esport, constantly traveling the world. And I mean, it's just because StarCraft is a less popular game, right? But like
Mm.
this guy, he's a consistent high performer as far as esports in Australia goes. And you don't hear about him that much other than, from the StarCraft people and from us.
Yeah, I certainly heard about him. Whenever he would be playing a match, I would be sometimes just tune into the stream downstairs, and they'd be like, "Yeah, Probe's mental. He's really been improving on that." And I'm just hearing him smashing his desk, like his whole fleet gets wiped out or something, and they're like, "Yeah, 2 years ago that might have really damaged his mental, but he's come a long way." And I'm just hearing like this man,
Yes, keyboard just
he's like,
flying through the air.
yeah, he's like having to go into game 3 for playoffs to like see who's going to go, and they're like, he's probably cool, calm, and collected going into this game 3, and I'm just like, you commentators, man, this is like it's a nice narrative, but like,
yeah. They've chosen like the mature, they've chosen like the veteran narrative. Like he's been on this stage so many times before, and it's just like, yeah, he's just
actually just
flipped out
freaking
49 times before this. This is, what I mean, this is his 50th meltdown.
not reformed.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So Donnie, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So more about me. Anyway, I'm a Super Smash Brothers player for Legacy, but I'd say in the last few years, first and foremost, a friend of you. Like I feel like in the realm of the org, there hasn't been much in terms of LAN for Melee, so I haven't had much involvement representing Legacy other than online a little bit. But you and me keep up a lot, and we play League and chat, and I guess this podcast was partly born from those conversations, sitting on League at 2 a.m. and thinking, why are these people doing this? Why are we doing this?
Diagnosing
each
other.
As two guys who are aging and like who could potentially move. Well, you have moved to huge success. Not behind the keyboard, behind the hot seat. Why are we still fiending for it? Why are we still up here late at night? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what causes that? And how to best harness that? As I get older, I'm looking to help younger players. Not necessarily. I mean, it's the cliche of don't make the same mistakes as me, but enjoy their time and maybe not spend as much time in the mental pitfalls that I did.
Yeah. A valiant cause.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we'll be catching up every now and again, putting one of these out, just talking about whatever, really. Which is what I like. I like shows where people are just themselves. Those are my favorite. I feel like it's more genuine. So that's what we're going to do. For those who are wondering, if you've watched like the first like 5 minutes or however long it's been of this, and you're wondering like why is no one talking about why Tim's head is fucking cracked open? So last week I got in a fight with a boom gate and I lost. Well, actually, I didn't lose because the boom gate also broke on my head. So technically, I won. They had to put the boom gate back together.
Do you own the boom gate though? Like, is it your gate?
No, it's not my boom gate. No, that was a
Right.
car park. I was at
I
a
thought it
car
was a
park.
roller door.
Nah, nah, nah. So I was at a car park.
Right.
I was actually at the hospital for something else, and I was in the hospital car park, and I was leaving the car park, and like I'd forgotten something, so I had to like turn around and go back. So like I walked up the ramp because there weren't any stairs or anything. So I walked up the car ramp, which you're not supposed to do. And
I
then
do that all the
realized
time.
that yeah, I mean, yeah, but I was like, because I told my I told my auntie, and she was like, did you call the car park people? Like someone's got to pay, you know what I mean? Like you can't just get injured in the car park and just like walk away. And I was like, nah, I feel like it's my fault. Like I
I
don't want to
thought
go
this
through the
was
hassle of
America.
like yeah. I don't want to go through the hassle of
That's,
like calling people. Like, I just shouldn't. I should have done something else or paid more attention. I don't know. Anyway, so I walked up this ramp, left something in the car. So I was like, shit, got to go back. So I turned around to go back down the ramp. I'd walked around the corner, and in that time, a car must have like come and gone or something. Because when I came back, the boom gate was up, so like I didn't see it. So I'm walking back down the ramp, and then the boom gate just like dropped, and it was like not a, I don't know, not like a safe one or like you know what I mean. It had corners, it had edges. It was just made of
it
metal. It wasn't
bludgeoned
like
you.
rounded, and it didn't come down slow. It just kind of like fell. Um,
Ooh.
it cracked me in the head, and then bounced out of its like coupling and like fell on the ground. Yeah, it was pretty. I don't know. It was like not that full on, but I was pretty full on. I was definitely bleeding a fair bit, but like I didn't realize at the time. It just kind of hurt. You know what I mean? And I had an appointment to get to, so I'm like, yo, to the security guard, do you have like a band-aid or something? Can I just get like a band-aid so I can go to this appointment? And he like grabs like a handful of paper towel and he's like, I don't think a band-aid's gonna cut it, man. And I was like, ah, shit.
It's just instantly washed away in blood.
Yeah. So then, I mean, it was like fortunate that I was at the hospital already, so they just shipped me off to
Right.
the emergency department, and I'm spending most of the day there. But no, nothing serious, like no head trauma, nothing like that. Just cuts and like, it's been a few days, and it's like a lot smaller now. Um, so I'm fine.
Yeah.
It just looks full on.
It's one of those injuries that's bad enough to have to go to the hospital for, but not so bad that you're fearing for like, oh, this might get worse or this might really hurt
This
my.
might,
You just
yeah,
tilted. You just tilted about
yeah,
your
yeah.
afternoon, and you're like,
I was just,
what a
yeah. That's
silly
what mostly I
mistake.
was pissed about. If I was at home, I wouldn't have gone to the hospital.
Hmm.
Probably. That's what I thought. What I wanted was like, because I knew. So another background for everyone. So I do Muay Thai kickboxing, and I have done for a number of years now, and I've definitely been concussed, and I've definitely been like hit and rocked, and it didn't feel anything like that. Like I feel like I know what it's like to like get a head injury, and I knew I didn't. I knew I wasn't concussed. I didn't have memory loss. I wasn't like shaky or nauseous or anything like that. So like
Hmm.
I knew I was fine. So if I was at home, I would have just treated the bleeding and I wouldn't have gone in. But it was just because I was there.
But did you get
Because
stitches though?
no, they use like this.
Right. Right.
They use like these special strips, steri strips, and they just like cleaned out the wound and like kind of hold it together and put these strips over the top. So I've taken all the dressings off. These are just like my own dressings. Um,
Right. Right.
but they just like stuck it together and put the strips over it. They said I probably wouldn't need stitches. Um,
Hmm.
it just, you know,
And that almost makes you
scalp
more
wounds, they
tilted.
bleed so much worse than what they look. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Like you almost want it to need stitches so that the hospital trip is like
Yeah. So I
uh,
didn't spend 5 hours in the
validated.
emergency department for a band aid,
Yeah.
which is definitely what it feels like.
Oh well.
But
And we were
anyway,
supposed to
but
be
that's why
recording
I
on
look like
that day,
this.
right? So that's what happened to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were supposed to record on Friday and then we didn't. Um, um, yeah. And I spent the whole day in the hospital. Anyway, I'm all good now, but
Well,
that's for
here we
those
are
who are
now.
wondering why I have. why I have these things on. With your game from home or on the go, you need the newly released Barracuda X from Razer. From the winners of the Best Gaming Headset 2021, the Barracuda X connects to any device by USB-C. That's your Switch, PlayStation 5, PC, Android device. Weighs at around 250 grams and a battery life of up to 20 hours. You can game all day and night on the go. Barracuda X is now available at all major retailers in Australia and New Zealand. So I thought would be fun to talk about is like this content thing that Donny's been doing, and it's kind of like, so it's a bit weird because it's not content for anyone else. It's just content for us. It's like our own little content series that only
I
we
think
watch.
it is. I think it is for everyone else. Well, it's going to be.
Yeah, it hasn't been yet though, and it's been going a while.
I'm collecting. I want to make the first episode really good.
One day it'll come out, and you guys will be able to enjoy it as well. But it's been really entertaining for me, and those are called sprint reviews.
Yeah. So it's basically just the concept of anytime I've been entered or typed at in a game or league, I just earnestly try to get the guy on Discord as best I can to explain, what he's saying, whether it's anger or aggression or like game stuff. I'll even try to watch the VOD with them so that we can pinpoint exact moments. And I want to splice this into the video, but just the things that you hear people say that, well, first off, one of the big things I've realized, and I think this is a bit of a no-brainer, is the things people will type versus the things they'll say to you when you're like, hey bro, how you going? Like, that was a tough game. Suddenly everything's different.
Yeah, the language changes.
Yeah,
man. Rough one.
yeah, exactly. I wasn't really trying, I told you about how I had a guy. He said he picked two random words, and those words were the first one was a homophobic slur, and the second one was cringe. And he comes on the call, and I was like, wow, that was some rough language there, man. Do you have anything against gay people, or what's that about? And he's like, nah, sometimes, I just get a bit random. I just say random crazy things. I'm like, so you're telling me you're flipping through a dictionary and the two words that came, you just tap your finger on one.
Just happened, of all the words of all the thousands and thousands of words you've learned throughout your life, that one. And it just happened to be two of the most common and most offensive gamer words there are.
Yeah, and I was like, it seems like almost the opposite of random in that way, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just interesting to see people have no reaction to that, or some guys are just completely flipping out. Like, they're just like wishing death on like the top laner, wishing death on Riot, saying they need a bomb to hit Riot headquarters so they can finally quit the game. And those ones are good too, so you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, those ones, they're so extreme. The random one is definitely one of my favorite sprint interviews so far, where he was just so totally like, you can tell that they don't want to acknowledge what they're doing either. You know what I mean?
No, they don't. There's this huge amount of
they don't come on and just own it. They don't come on and just own like, yeah, this is what I said, and fuck you, and you entered.
That was the Vayne.
Rah, rah, rah.
You watched that game. You remember that game? Yeah. I beat that Vayne mid lane, and he was not happy about it.
Nah. But the enemy team ones are even weirder. I've always said that, and I think it's all MOBAs, but the ones we have experience with is League of Legends. But it's just like, in MOBAs, in most games, you flame the enemy team, right? Like, you tell the enemy that they're bad, and like you're shitting on them, and like, I'm sick and you're not. But League, and probably MOBAs in general, it's one of the few ones where it's like you're looking for sympathy from the enemy. You're like, hey, you're like saying in the chat, like, this Rise is inting, man, and you're like,
that's the most
hoping the enemy's like, yeah, man, this Rise is really ruining your game for you. That's the interaction people are looking for, and it's like, it's so weird. Where else would you find that? Can you imagine playing football or something, and you're just on the field and some guy like misses a kick, misses like a shot on goal or something, and you're just like, get a load of this guy, enemy team. Who's this fucking idiot? Who am I playing with? And they're like, yeah, man, he sucks. He should have kicked that for sure. Like, what?
Playing man to man or something, and you just go to the guy defense. Like, can you fucking believe he misses that? In what world?
Like, it's so weird. People are so weird, but it's something about the game that makes them act that way. I've always thought that it's like for me, the psychology of League is like, one of the key parts is that your teammates are characters and you are a person. So like, Lucian isn't like Don B, the Lucian. It's Lucian. You know what I mean? And like, Lucian as a character does X. Like, in this scenario, Lucian is supposed to do this thing because I've seen Faker do it. But like, you're obviously not Lucian. You're obviously not Faker. You're Dom B. But like, from my experience, I'm just running around. You might as well be 4 bots. They're not real people. They may as well be 4 bots just running around. And like, I'm playing because I'm a person, but everyone around me is just like a bot that is performing suboptimally. And I'm like, no, Malphite's supposed to hit his ult. He's not supposed to miss it, but you've missed it. Like, what? Like, there's something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, actually, on this point, I have a few different things to say. And the suboptimal thing is an interesting one because I think League specifically and other games, this is really plaguing sports, but mostly esports because that's where a lot of amateurs are playing. Like if you're a golfer, you've probably been playing your whole life and you're out there, you know that you're going to hit some bad ones, you're going to hit some good ones. But the prevalence of highlight reels, especially in things like League and smurfing, we talked about that. What you've got is this all of these content creators who are making Smurf videos. This is how you play it optimally. And then you've got like easy to consume analytics content. So everyone's just been watching Smurf video after Smurf video and then consuming analytics content. So anytime the game doesn't play out like that, they just make it tilted. And
Yeah.
you know, Lucian is supposed to do the things they've seen on screen over and over again because, you know, they're watching their favorite ADC probably play against people significantly worse than him. So he's just never missing anything. He's never sweating. And it's just 1, 2, 3 with these plays. And then you top that off with like them thinking they have some sort of a knowledge of macro that's superior to their peers because they've watched some LS content or something. And you've just got this recipe for like huge amount of just a huge chasm between what people are ready to do in Silver versus what they're expected to do by their teammates who are looking at them like a bot, as you were saying. And so they're like, oh, I can't believe my like. And then whenever they miss anything, they're just like, yeah, that's the one time, you know, that I didn't execute perfectly. When in actual fact, it's
like
probably
I'm a
more
human.
like 8 out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm a human, I can miss, but you're not a human, you can't miss. Like you think about how a person reacts when they miss something versus when someone else misses something. And it's not just the like external. I think it's not enough to just like call it externalizing blame and be done with it. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it's enough to just be like, oh yep, that's just like they just don't want to blame themselves. Like I think it's more than that. I think it's like for them, they're a human, so they can make mistakes. But like Riven doesn't make mistakes. Riven does the dance thing and kill everyone. Like that's what they're supposed to do. That's what I see. That's what I know of Riven. And like this one's not doing it. There's something wrong with this one.
Also, calling people by the character name specifically in game, even to the point of gender, like I can't believe she did this, and it's just like it's a weird thing. I remember I was watching a Midbeast video yesterday. That's specific to League as well because I've played a lot of Dota, and people will more often not like refer to you like by your tag or maybe the character, but like this cat. I can't believe this Katarina. I can't believe it. I did this cat. She's inting me. And I was watching a Midbeast video the other day, and she, like, a Katarina went to the dagger to, like, take a trade or something, and he goes, good girl, yeah, good girl. And I was like, weird thing to say. Like, if that was me rewatching the VOD, like, the character, it's like he's talking to an entity that isn't the person, like, the probably sweaty neckbeard playing as Katarina. Like, it is a character in the game.
It's definitely...
there's that element of like roleplay there, and it does distance you from the person.
It's definitely real. I think it feeds back into this idea that you're the only human in a game of 10 humans, and that's what allows you to. I think it gives for me it explains a lot of things away because it allows you to say whatever you want. There are no real consequences. I mean, people do that anyway on the internet, but like. I think here specifically, like, it feels like you're saying it to, you know, Katarina, she's inting me. It feels like you're saying, like, this Katarina sucks. Like, not you as a person. But they'll say that too.
You know who's given their humanity back, though? Pros.
Well, who's that?
Because in the Midbeast video, it's Chovy versus Katarina. This cat, she's crazy. But Chovy or Knight, these people are legends. We know them. It's not this Silas.
Silas
Chovy.
Is crazy, dude. Yeah.
It's not, and like those people are nameless, right? The people who Chovy's up against, that's just this cat, and that person can be inting or doing whatever. But then once you're a pro or you've reached a certain level of like acclaim, you're given your humanity back, and you're not allowed to type like the people who are typing.
Yeah, that is
You sort
definitely
of
a tough
ascend.
one. Yeah, and I think it's people are getting better with it, but certainly the change from uh, solo queue player to professional, and then like immediately having your behavior monitored, like going from being allowed to do whatever you want to like having your behavior monitored is like a huge. That's a massive change, I think, for those players, but
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
given the wider context of like the leagues they play in. It's like
Yeah,
I don't know. I just picked. You can imagine. You can. Some they need to be held to a higher standard, but it's very different if you're training in a facility only with your own people, and you could be kept away from everyone else. You know what I mean?
for sure.
Whereas, like, yeah, to be a pro in most esports, but especially in league, you're thrown straight back. Nothing. Things change, but they also don't change. You're still forced to be thrown back into solo queue with all the same people, where the rules don't apply. Not like the rules don't apply for anyone but you in that scenario. It's what it feels like.
Exactly. You're the only one
Um,
with something to lose at that point, and people aren't going to
yeah,
change their behavior. If anything, they're going to get worse towards you after that
yeah, yeah. The nice thing now is that a
because
lot
they're
of
going
these
to be
guys get paid a lot of
jealous.
money. But yeah, yeah. But certainly, it's always been like that. But people didn't always have the money to be able to like, okay, I'll put up with this for this.
I'm too rich to
There was,
care. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There was definitely a point that I remember where it
But
was like,
OS is in that kind of gray area where it's like I'm not too rich
yeah,
to care. I'm
yeah,
playing on a team, especially with OPL changing now
yeah.
to more of a kind of deregulated system. Maybe not deregulated, but kind of
Definitely still
pickup
regulated,
system.
just not by
Yeah,
riot.
yeah. Um, less funded system, I guess. You don't even really get to be like, all of the Macca's memes that were coming out for those OPL
Yeah,
players, like, haha, you guys are burger flippers now. Like,
yeah. I mean, I
yeah,
think that
like
has
so
more to do
that gives
with
the animals ammunition. It's like you play this
yeah,
game
yeah,
all the
yeah,
time,
yeah,
and
yeah,
although
yeah,
you're better than
yeah,
me and you're on a pro team, which I secretly wish I was,
yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
say you're a burger flipper, and you
That's
can't
a
even be
classic.
like, haha, I'm rich.
There are so many people I know, especially within this scene, people I know who like are now on teams who like 2 years ago were turbo flaming people for being pro or like having aspirations to be pro. But as
Right,
soon as
right.
those same people get an offer or like the sniff of an offer, their
Yeah, they're
tune
in.
changes completely, instantly.
Yeah, dude. It's always funny how the guy who's not winning says winning's cringe. It's like, all right, man,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
okay.
According to who, bro?
Yeah, I didn't
According to
even want
who?
to win anyway. I came to this tournament for a
Yeah,
laugh, bro.
yeah. Um, yeah, no, I agree.
Mm. But
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
just going to address
talking
my
to,
fucking camera keeps dropping out, which is annoying. I'm not going to pretend that like that's not happening, but
I was thinking it might just
it'll
be on
do for
my end,
now.
so I was kind of ignoring it.
Nah, no, it's definitely at my end. It runs out of battery. I have like an automatic battery for it, and it dies, it kills itself sometimes. Even though it's got like a spoof battery that's like plugged into the wall, but for some reason it does it anyway. But we'll
Right,
call them
right.
growing pains. We'll call them growing pains. It's an audio
Yeah,
platform anyway,
that's the
right?
one.
People don't need to see me.
We're just setting the bar for improvement. That's all we're doing here, man.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, continuing. Um,
I think as
yeah,
long as you're
yeah,
aware of
yeah,
like the reasons that people are saying the things they're saying, it instantly takes away a lot of the. This actually leads me into my next big thing I've been thinking about, and it's been helping me massively. I've been playing a lot of poker. Is empathy. Ego is like the lowest form of thought, and I think empathy is the highest form of thought, even for competition, even especially in competition, even.
yeah.
Like
Okay,
once you have some sort of empathy towards the person, and this is how I'm able to do sprint interviews without flying off the handle and being one of the people I'm talking to, right? I'm not necessarily
yeah,
trying to make, I'm not even trying to make fun of these guys a lot of the time. It is really funny to ask them questions and try to find out more about why their opinion, because their opinion is so delusional a lot of the time. Like they make the content for me. I
yeah,
just
yeah,
go,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
and why?
You're
Why
actually,
do you
you're just facilitating.
I just ask like three why questions, and then they look like they've already lost, like said that they want to bomb right headquarters, and like they're going to
Yeah,
throw their PC out their window, and yeah. So I've been thinking a lot about how empathy has completely changed, and not empathy in the way where you're like, "Oh, this guy's hard stuck. Like, throw him a fucking crumb for this pig animal. Like, of course he's gonna type." Like not in
Yeah.
that way where you're like, "Oh, you would say that, you grub." Like in that way where you genuinely feel like maybe this guy has had one meal today. Like he's played 18 games of solo queue. He's out of his mind. Like he's looking for something and he's not finding it. And like empathize with the part of me that's done that.
Yeah.
And same in poker, like to identify why people are there, what sort of experience they're looking for, like maybe what level of cognition they have about the game, and not feel better than them for that. Like being good at poker or being good at league is such a small thing. Like these people have jobs. Like one of my favorite people who talks on this subject is like I'm really good at two variants of a card game. The guys I play against are like life. He calls them life crushers, like high ELO life. He's like, they
Yeah.
have enough
Yeah.
money
Okay.
to play against me. Like they run companies and stuff. I want to learn about them. Like I'm
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me
Yeah.
about your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And the more I embrace that, the more I'm not making moves I shouldn't be because I'm getting bored, egoing and trying to make moves against good players who, the edges are going to be very thin when we play against each other. The less I'm doing all of those things because my experience is about connecting with the people who are there more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like the more I enter into that realm and the less I feed my own ego, even with League, but it's really hard with League because your game is being directly ruined a lot of the time, and it is hard to sort of keep that perspective.
Well, yeah. League is forced cooperation with people who hate you, and there's
Yeah.
not many avenues in life where those circumstances appear. There are very
Mm.
few. You know,
A normal job
a,
for a
a,
lot of people.
yeah, but I don't know if those people. I don't know if you're. Yeah. I guess in some cases they are actively sabotaging you, but I feel like in a normal job you're not getting hate the same way. Maybe they don't
You're just
like you,
getting,
or
as per my
like,
last email
yeah, yeah,
from
that's very different. Even though that they're upset, they're still not like angry, angry. Whereas like
right,
in gaming,
right,
they're angry, angry. Like you've cut them off for the lights, or you've
and they could
said
take a
something
piece of
horrible
their
about them.
paycheck.
Yeah, it's not like someone at work is upset. It's like they're upset, and it's like, okay, like,
Right,
yeah,
right.
sorry, you're upset. I don't know. That's my experience of it anyway. I've never had anyone at
League is a
work
lot like road
threaten to kill
rage.
me.
I think that there are people who react to road rage in that way, where they're like, "I'm not an angry person, but if you cut me off, like I'll get out of my car, like I will fight you."
It's
And
very
I feel like
similar,
typing in
right?
League is kind of same. Yeah.
I think driving is similar because it's like you're in this environment where other people have the ability to like impact you negatively, even though you're not playing against each other. Everyone's just trying to get
Right.
home, right? But like, here's a guy
Right.
who's like just driving like a maniac, and you feel unsafe, and that some people are gonna take that stress and express anger, and some people are going to do it in other ways. But to me, it's very similar to League in that regard. Like
Mm.
people are affecting you in a negative way, really for no reason. Um, but
Yeah.
driving's also got the built-in stress of like you might die at any moment, whereas
Right. Which I
League
never
sort of
think
has that.
about.
So a lot of people don't. But I remember reading a thing a little while ago, which was like that most of us are thinking about that, just not actively, and that's what leads to a lot of the stress of driving. Is like we're not driving
I don't
around
feel any
thinking like,
stress
oh,
driving. Driving is very
I might
relaxing for
die,
me.
I might die. Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. I might die, but like, yeah, this idea that for a lot of people, the underlying stress of like not being safe, people being
Mm.
territorial about their space on the road, like this is my space.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
cut me off. You're up my ass. You're tailgating. And it's like, why is that a problem? Well, it's like, well, it's because it's
Dude.
unsafe to be tailgating. It's unsafe to cut people off. You could hurt me. But it's like that's all underneath. People are not
Yeah.
thinking that
Yeah.
actively. People are thinking like, this idiot, he's so close to me, whatever, and
And
not
it's
that
it's
like I'm stressed
impersonal.
because I might
It's
die.
impersonal enough as well, like League, as you were saying.
Yeah, it's like the Subaru. It's not like Tom.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Mm. Interesting. It's funny and ironic that poker is a place where there's a lot of camaraderie, especially against the people who are there as entertainment, and even against a
Yeah,
lot of the regulars. And it's a game specifically designed about making half or more of the people at the table's financial situation worse. You know, and
Yeah.
people will take it. You know, they'll even lose in an unlucky spot and be like, "Good hands, man. Like you take that money and you do good things. Like I'll see you later. Like I'll play again another night. Like well played." You know,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
see a lot of that, and it's such a selfish 1v1 literally high stakes in some situations game, whereas League is so low stakes and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
impersonal, and
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah. That's
and
true.
you're on a team. In poker, you're not
Yeah.
on a team, and I've seen people be like as friendly as possible to each other in the process of like ruining each other financially.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's like
Yeah.
you're supposed to be cooperating with these people to win 22 blue number. it's like, it's like
They full
yeah,
flipped out.
that's one of the reasons I
Yeah.
love. I was saying this last time. I love that Melee is LAN is because it's just like, all right, man, come and say that to my face, and I know you won't. So I don't have to. I
Yeah.
don't even read the people typing online.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. I'm deep
Mm,
in it. I'm an empath in League of Legends. Like I can tell from like someone's body language in game, the way they're moving. I could tell probably what they're thinking and probably what they're
mm,
feeling, and then
mm.
like internalizing that affects me. So like I'm seeing a guy
But
who's
are
like,
you an empath, or are you just scared for your life, like being in a car on the road? Are you just scared you're gonna get cut
yeah,
off and
I'm just seeing the
die?
guy swerving, and I'm like, fuck, fuck, fuck,
Like,
fuck, fuck.
like, do you care about Jerry in that car swerving, or do you just worry that he might like T-bone you?
Yeah, no, it is
You
probably the
see him,
latter. It is probably the latter. Um,
like you see that
but
guy
yeah,
moving like in a weird way, and you're like, he's gonna hit me. I'm gonna lose my 22 blue number. It's gonna be red
yeah, yeah.
number.
I mean, that is what it is. That is what it is. I'm seeing a guy like moving back and forth outside the tower, and in my mind, I'm like, I know this guy wants to tower dive. Like this guy's desperate to tower dive this guy, and I know it's not a good move, and I know that like, especially as a jungler, like I need to be on the other side of the map. But I can tell, I can feel it, I can just tell, and I know that if I don't come, he's going to do
So
it
he's gonna
anyway, and
be
then it's going to
yeah,
fail, and
yeah.
he's going to flip out at me for not being there. Okay, so in both scenarios, I lose. Like, because if I go, because
Right.
I think it's a bad idea, and for whatever reason, so I go and it fails, he's angry. I don't go, he does it anyway, and it fails, and he's angry. So like I see that movement, and I'm already stressing. Like, okay, this is about to go horribly, and then he's going to want to forfeit the game. So then, like, even if he doesn't do that, you know what I mean? Even if he doesn't actually exhibit those behaviors, in my mind, that story's already playing. And so now I'm
Mm,
thinking like, oh, this game is over because my top lane's like this guy's given up. This game's over. Even though like he might not have at all. But like I've just experienced this so many times that I'm now filling in the
right.
gaps myself. No one needs to say anything. Like I know what's happening, you know. I think I
So
know.
looking for but in that way, you've reduced him to a CPU that just has defects as well. Like he's not his own person in that moment. He's just a collection of decisions
Well,
that are most likely.
no, no, it's the human part of him that scares me. It's him giving up.
But
I'm assuming he's going to give up as a result of what's about to happen. It's the giving up part that I'm
but
thinking about.
isn't like it's a reflection on the entire player pool, and either like we have instincts or we have feelings mostly because of collected data. Like our brain subconsciously collects data, right? And this is how like
Yeah,
people say like I'm a feel poker player and I just didn't feel like he was ever bluffing here. Like what that
yeah,
means is they've seen this situation with this person enough and their brains collected it and been like something's weird here. So I'm gonna
yeah,
choose whatever counter strategy. And
yeah,
the good people at that are doing it because their subconscious is working correctly. The bad people are doing that because they have some sort of bias or they just want to call or it's a some sort of delusion, right? And
yeah,
maybe this is just hours gap, and I still want to believe, but I think I know the exact situation you're talking about. By the way, like you see a bad play, and it's like it's more profitable for you to just go with it and die.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Just so that like this person can have some sort of faith that they're going to have agency and be able to like call the team. I had a guy the other
yes,
day be like, "No
yeah,
one helps me. This mid laner, no one helps me. Like jungle's trolling. He's playing Yone, just feeding, and I'm Tristana. I was autofilled ADC. I want to play mid, and so I go mid to try to help him, Like, I'm pushing his tower and he's pinging me away. Like, I'm trying to set up a gank for this guy. And he's like, no one's helping me. In my mind, I'm like, if I don't help this guy at some stage, he's just going to start running it down. Or like splitting with the intention to just not play.
Yeah.
And so I get him into a side lane. I'm trying to set him up to like take a kill. And he's pinging me. He's like, leave. I've got this lane now. Like, I don't want you here. And there's like 2 enemy champions there. Like, it's not a good situation for him to be solo. And I'm like, if I leave you, then no one's helping you again. Like, how? So, I don't know if it's possible to try to help these people, to try to play around that sense of like somebody else's impending doom.
Yeah, so much. It would be really interesting for, like, I think for people to study, like people smarter than us. Like, what is it about, like, we have a shared goal, and yet the most important part is getting everyone committed to finishing. You know what I mean? Like, what I'm most scared of is not being outplayed, but like having my teammates quit the game. That's what I'm most scared of. Of like, okay, I've been grouped with these people and we have like a task, which is like to win the game. And my number one worry is that something's going to happen that's going to make like one or more people decide that that's no longer important to them. And it's like, what is that? Like, I wonder, how often does that surface in other stuff?
This is my thesis here. So many League players who are playing the game no longer enjoy it. I hear when I started League, people were like, they're like, yeah, I play. And I'm like, oh, I'm having fun. I'm like new at the game. I want to chat to them about it. They're like, I hate it. And I'm just like, well, why?
Yeah.
And I was learning a lot recently about extrinsic versus intrinsic motivators. And when you're intrinsically motivated, like I'm very intrinsically motivated to do this show right now because I love talking to you.
Yeah.
Like an extrinsic motivation would be like helping promote Razor, or like some sort of career aspiration for me to become like more of a community figure, or like some idea of followers or any of that, right? And when you're doing things for extrinsic motivation, it's very, very easy because it's not aligned with who you are. It's just aligned with something you think you want or something that your ego wants. And, you want to be diamond so you can tell your friends you're diamond or whatever. And so when you've been grinding for these, it's why people have like half-life crisis or whatever it is, like midlife crisis, is because they've just been going through the things for these external goals. And they're like, this isn't me. I haven't been working towards something I'm passionate about ever.
Yeah.
And so they're like, well, and so what you've got is these people who are queuing up for a game that they no longer enjoy, and they're looking for an external motivator, which is to become higher ranked for their ego, so they can either tell their mates or just feel like, they weren't beaten by the system.
Yeah.
And because they're not having fun, and, when you are having fun, who cares if you win or lose? Because we're having fun. Fun is like the greatest currency for humans. Well, one of them.
Yeah.
Or, and so if that's not there anymore, and it's all extrinsic motivation. So it's all things like, status or ego. At the slightest turn of something going wrong, you feel miserable and you want out. Like, there's nothing, if the only thing enjoyable about the experience is some reward, and that reward is now in question, it's like Alt F4, get me out. Like, I'll go to one of my other accounts. Like, I'll flip a coin again. Like, and that's what I'm running into a lot.
Coin.
I talk to these guys and they're like, I have 11 accounts, like, I'll enter this game. I don't care. I had a guy tell me the other day, I'm trying to queue into my mate. And I go, oh, okay, so you and your friend are trying to duo and queue into your mate. Why is that? And he goes, oh, it's fun to play against my mate. Okay, fair enough. I agree. Well, why do it in silver or gold? And he's like, well, I'm like, what's your main? And he's like, oh, this and that. And you'll like this one, actually. This guy couldn't tell me. He said he was Masters, but he couldn't tell me an account. And he says he has a lot of high ELO friends, and he identifies as a high ELO player. He said this all deadpan.
I mean,
this is one of the funniest. Dude, he's just like,
he's like,
no, the account I'm on right now actually used to be high ELO. He was Diamond 4 in Season 4. And I was like, bro, that was 8 years ago. And I was like, oh, so you just have been like de-ranking this account, yeah? And he's like, yeah, bro, like just been fucking around on this one. I'm like, it kind of looks like someone's main though. Like it has like 300 games played this season, 47% win rate in silver support.
That's a lot of messing around.
Kind of looks like someone's been playing this one unironically. And he's like, nah, like just de-ranking it,
Yeah, this is my ironic account.
And he's telling me that Diamond 4 was when he tried. And since
Yeah.
then, he's been mucking around. And I was like, bro, that was 8 years ago. And he's like, nah, it wasn't. Nah. It's like 6. He's like, I'm counting it on my hands now. I'm like, I'm on the Wikipedia. That was 2014. And he's trying to tell me that was 6 years ago. I'm like, bro, that's 7 going on
I've just
8.
been de-ranking been mucking around since 2018,
This
2014.
is why I like to do these sprint interviews, is because this guy was telling me, he's like, nah, I'm just piss chilling, man. And I'm like, I think this might be your main. I hate to tell you that you and your friend, who are
We're not
duoing
chilling
to
anymore.
snipe your other friend, I think you guys
You're
might
win
just be a
trading in
duo
silver.
who
You are hard
troll.
stuck in piss.
And I was like, bro, like, he's like, nah, like, I got Masters account. I'm like, like, I'm on OpGG now. Like, let me just have a quick look. And he's like, nah, I forgot what it is. And I'm like, you forgot the only account that you have that is in anywhere near anything close to high elo. And he's like, yeah, got a lot of accounts. Got 11 accounts.
Got a lot
And
going on. I've got a lot going on.
so he's spending his night trying to snipe into his friend, saying he doesn't care if he wins these games. And I'm like, what if you don't get him next game? You just going to do the same, like soft int to hard int again? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, bro, you're going to spend 4 hours, like, just mucking around to get one game. And I'm like, why don't you just do this? If you are platinum and he's platinum as well, do it there. It's a less of a player pool. You're more likely to get the game you're looking for.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's funny, man. These people are so funny. And
it's beautiful.
What I like most about sprint interviews is that, like, you're playing in gold, like silver gold. Like, these are and, like, for me, high elo is special. It's very different because there's way fewer players. You're always playing with the same people. The goals, there's something sort of tangible in it as well. Like, if I do well enough, I can be a pro, or I can get noticed, or I can be a streamer, or even if it's something small, like I might play good on mid-beast stream. Like, that's not like, there are a lot of tangibles about playing in high elo, but there are no tangibles in gold and silver. Like, there's nothing. You're really unlikely to gain anything from any single game in gold or silver elo. You might gain something over time, but, like, there's very likely that you're going to gain from one single game. And these people are still so insanely invested and so insanely delusional about what's actually happening.
Let's clarify as well. Like, those things are all extrinsic motivators that are largely phantoms. Like, I might play well on mid-beast stream and someone will see that's my screen name, that's me. Chickens, or like, that's me. That's me. This guy. You know what I mean. But, like, that's such a small crumb of, like, social media clout.
And well, I think not even social media clout, just a YouTube video. It's just you. I'm trying to boil it really down to just demonstrate how little you have to gain in gold and silver from freaking out. Like,
you have nothing to gain there, but even in high elo,
literally
like, the stakes are.
Yeah,
there is a little
at
bit
least
more.
there's something. You get a crumb of something, a good feeling of some sort from being like, oh yeah, I was, I could see myself on the ladder now, or like my friends typed to me and was like, hey man, just saw you got master. That's awesome, congratulations. That's awesome. Something. Yeah. That's something. Yeah. But playing any one game, I think in gold and silver, is like there's so little there to gain, and yet people are so invested.
But, like, these people have had their minds rotted by that content I was talking about, toxic content, streamers smurfing, highlight reels, and analysis that has been boiled down and maybe oversimplified. And so you've got this person who just has a huge chasm between where their actual skill level is and where they think they deserve to be. And this guy was telling me, he's like, yeah, I'm just chilling in pit, all my high elo mates, like, we're chilling on. He really identifies as a high elo player.
Yeah.
And he was telling me that. And I was asking questions in a way, like, I was trying to hold back laughter, but, like, I wasn't trying to put him in a spot where he would just react, like, be saying that stuff ironically. Like, he was kind of dancing. He didn't say it directly, but I was like, so you don't have an account you can show me, but you just are a master player. And he's like, yeah, pretty much.
I'm curious about who this is
This
because
is
I know that I do know people who do that. I do know
this
like
is the
high elo
point where
people
it's
who
gotten to.
play with their friends in silver.
But dude,
So
the
maybe
account
maybe
that
I would know.
his I'll send you a link after stream. But his trump card was the account he was on, being Diamond 4 8 years ago. That was the only semi achievement he could show me.
That's so funny. That is so
Yeah,
funny.
it's nuts. It's as long as I keep an open mind and don't let my own ego drag me down to the same level as these people. It's a fun journey to go on, and I think it's a really fun way to be experiencing League of Legends. It's also
Yeah.
awesome because it adds a silver lining to when I'm minted,
Yeah, you're
because
still
I'm like,
getting
oh,
something
I
out of
get
the
content out of
loss.
this
Yeah,
now.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And
Conditioning
the
yourself to
ultimate
enjoy losses.
dude, the ultimate trump card when some bot laner is typing like mid didn't roam. He had a huge lead and he didn't roam. He could have, I don't even want to win now because you stole my kills. And I'm like pinging my 25 stack Magi, like, yeah, I'm gonna give you these kills, man. And that guy starts soft inting or whatever, and he wants to talk about the game. There's something at 7 minutes that happened that he's not happy about.
Yeah.
And it's really sticking with him. And the only thing I'll say is get on Discord after the game or stop typing. Like
Yeah.
I'm always happy to talk about the game. Let's watch it. And then, oh, it's not worth my time. I don't want to waste my time. I'm like, bro, you've played 600 games this season, 49% win rate. You're wasting your own time.
You've got time.
You've got plenty of time.
I had someone say that to me the other day, actually, as well, in high elo solo queue. He was a pro player. He plays on one of the LCO teams. And he was just losing his mind at me for, like, something I had done wrong. And I was like, you obviously don't know. Because he was saying things, like, that just didn't happen. You know what I mean? It was, like, his interpretation of what had happened, but he obviously wasn't actually watching. And I was like, look, you didn't watch what happened. You don't know. Like, stop freaking out. I said, you can watch a replay, figure it out for yourself.
Let's get on this. Let's watch it together.
And he was like, no. He's like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Fuck you. And I was like, okay, okay, I don't care, whatever. Like, sure, but like, no. It's like that attitude of like, I just want to express anger. I'm not actually interested in the right answer.
Yeah,
like, I'm not interested in solving this.
Saying.
Yeah, solving this interaction. I just want to get my feelings out.
Mm. And then he's calling me a pussy, and I'm like, I'm the one who wants to chat, bro. Come and chat.
Yeah. Let's figure this out.
And bro, suddenly it's like you're a pussy. You're cringe, and I'm like, come tell me live. I want to hear it.
Yeah. And
they can't, dude. I always tell the guys who do log on, first of all, respect for actually jumping on the call.
Yeah.
And that first 15 seconds is one of those. I'm starting to enjoy it now, but it's one of those awkward human moments. Yeah. Your heart starts going.
What's about to happen? Because I reckon they're also waiting. I reckon they're waiting for you to get stuck in. Because that's what I think. They assume like they're gonna log on and you're gonna be like, now that you're on Discord, rah 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 rah. I think I imagine that's their expectation. But then like, you obviously don't do that, and that's why it's like an awkward silence because they come in expecting a fight, expecting conflict immediately, and you don't offer them conflict, and it's just like, okay, where do we go from here?
I just go like, what's your name, bro? Like, what's your actual name? I don't want to call you fucking 420 Varus King. And from there it turns into something different every time. And the ones who get on Discord, it's like props to them. I think the people who add me on friends and then just type like trash, 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 unadd, and then add me again, trash, trash, trash. I'm like, what? You're really testing the limits of like what I'm supposed to think as a human being on the other end. I'm trying.
Pushing me.
Those are the ones which really make me think.
All right. Well, I think we've hit. We're almost at 50 minutes. So I reckon we'll wrap it up here.
Cool.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to do a good one. I'll make sure my camera doesn't freak out on the next one. Appreciate anyone who listened this far. It was fun to make, so hopefully you enjoyed it as well. I don't really have an outro planned, so thanks everyone. Peace. Catch you on the next one.